What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the He's on Fire podcast. I am one of your hosts tonight, Jason, aka Jay Boldy, aka Jay Joyce. The Suns are rolling right now, and it's something that we haven't been able to say for close to 2 months at this point. Since end of November, it's been kind of a shit show for the Phoenix Suns and Arizona sports in general. I'm glad to be here tonight talking about not only another Suns win, not only we're talking about a 4 game win streak, but we're back in playoff contention. If the season was to end tonight, we would be the fifth seed, which is insane because we were just the 12th seed just under a week ago. Crazy how the Western Conference is right now. It's jam packed and like there's no room for error going forward. Yeah, the Nuggets are have the number one seed locked down, but that like it's really not too far away for any team to really grasp on. The Kings in a week can take that probably. So before we get into everything, I think we might as well drop
He's
it.
on fire.
It's been a minute. It's been a minute. Let's bring in the other co-host, Amit. Amit, how are you doing, man? How's life? What have you been doing? It's been a long time since we talked, man.
I know, man. It's good to see you, bro. Yeah, things have been just crazy since Christmas. There's a lot of stuff going on in my house, dude. In the last 2 days, I've had a water heater breakdown.
That's the worst.
Like we just got all sorts of stuff going on, family, kids, relatives, so just a lot of stuff. But you know what? Just like the sun season, dude, I'm just taking it one day at a time.
Yeah, that's what's up. Yeah. With me, it's been crazy since Christmas. Just recently, just a couple of days ago, it was my daughter's birthday. She just turned 2. So she's growing like crazy. She's very responsive now, and she like listens to commands. She's insane. But yeah, we threw her a little party in the backyard. Originally, it was just supposed to be like a little family outing to like Sky Zone or something because she's really into jumping. But we just ended up renting a bounce house and inviting a bunch of family over. It was really nice. It was really nice just having
That's
it at
cool,
home
man.
and relaxing. Yeah, I'm glad I could do that.
That's the best age. Like 18 months to like 30 months, like that's the best age because they're just so like happy and just the way they move around is so cute. They walk around with this little swagger and stuff, so it's cool. Actually, I forgot to tell you this. I was in Arizona MLK weekend.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I was just with family and stuff, but we went to a jump park in Mesa called Fun Zone or something Fun Zone on Mesa. But yeah, no, those places are cool, dude. They're fun.
I've been to Sky Zone a handful of times. That place is dope, especially with the trampoline dodgeball. Like that shit is dope. I was
My
just
brother,
nailing
my,
kids
sorry,
in
my,
the
my brother.
head.
My son took a ball to the eye from like some bigger kid, and he was like hurting for like 3 days, dude. It was painful. He's just like, it hurts. He hit me in the eye. You know, you kids get when they get older, they get really specific on their injuries, and they're like, "No, it's my eye." I'm like, "No, you actually have like a cold. Like you don't actually, your eye doesn't hurt. Like you have an actual."
Oh, right, yeah. Kids nowadays don't know those old school dodgeballs. So like getting hit by those foam ones isn't bad. So like,
Hey man,
yeah,
if you can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a
you can
dodge
dodge a ball. Oh, yeah, right. Dodge, dip, dive, and dodge. Let's bring in another guest that's joined us tonight. He's been on the podcast a bunch. Nick from Specs Media. Specs, how are you doing with your Biombo background?
I was just about to say, actually, life has been like Bismack Biombo. It's been fucking amazing. That's but yeah, we're doing pretty good right now. I actually thought
Are we
about
gonna
buying
see
a
you? Or
Bismack
are you just gonna
Biombo
be a
thing.
black screen for us?
Huh? Oh, and he's gonna be here.
Are you gonna show your face? Show your beautiful man bun.
Can you not see it? Oh, can you not see it?
I can see him out.
Yeah, it's because my hair is like my hair's like dark as hell. Like, I don't know if you can see it.
No, it's like I can't see anything.
Yeah.
But that's
Yeah, it's also the lighting is like terrible in here, but I will definitely.
Okay. You can see him now, Jade?
Huh? Yeah, I can see him. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's kind of weird. I'm not gonna lie. It's mostly to keep the hair out of my face, but yeah, looks pretty good so far. But,
Uh,
how are you guys doing today?
Doing all right. I mean, the Suns win. 4-game win streak. If this was last season, a 4-game win streak ain't shit. I mean, we didn't lose all of November last season, so.
That was
But
a month, man. That was a
but considering the situation that we've been dealing with for the last 2 months, I mean, a 4-game win streak is just like heaven in my eyes. Let's bring in our fourth
No.
guest, Randy. Randy, how are you doing, dude? It's been fucking forever, dude.
What's going down, man? I've been good, man. Just chilling, taking it easy, watching these Suns going through the emotion, trying not to, through that depression of losing a month straight. It felt like just like
Yeah.
That
I
one
think we all
month felt
had-
like 3 months, man.
I think we all
man.
had some PTSD of like going back like 3-4 years and just being like,
yeah.
dude, this team loses every freaking game, right? No Booker.
Yes, bro.
Like, just,
Yes.
I mean, it was just tough. It was tough. The whole thing was, it just took. I couldn't watch the games. I don't know about you guys, but when Booker went
It was
out
hard.
on
It was
Yeah,
hard.
it was
Christmas,
definitely
I
hard to
watched
watch
that
the
game. I
games.
watched the Memphis game after that, and then I haven't watched that much Suns until recently, just because like they started getting guys back. They started having an easier schedule. But even tonight, like you watch and you're like, dude, just having CP3 and Cam Johnson and Mikal, like just those three guys can beat what 50% of the NBA right now by themselves
Yeah, that's a good argument.
if they're playing good.
Yeah.
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 So,
yeah,
like,
it was a lot.
yeah, like these last 2 months have been a fucking shit show. But hey, we're finally getting back healthy. Chris actually looks like his old self. But Randy, starting with you, since the last time we talked and stuff, through the last couple months, what have your thoughts been about this current Suns roster?
With the Suns roster, I'm a stand 10 toes on kind of like what I've said and what I've been saying throughout the like entirety through the wins and the losses. And like I think it's been a minute, but I feel like, and I told you so, it's kind of due. You know what I'm saying? Because I feel like this losing streak or just us with this rough start, and I feel like I was calling out Monty like years ago, you know what I'm saying, or like 2 years or whatever the case, or a year ago after we lost the finals, and I came in here and I was like, look, I don't think Monty is the best X and O guy. Like I feel like, you know what I'm saying, he's good at coaching the underdogs. I think he's good at coaching, you know what I'm saying, when you're the prey, but when you're the predator now, and it's like people are looking for you and coming out giving you your best every night, I don't think that he's the best guy for that. But roster wise, I feel like a lot of people can go. You know what I'm saying? And I kind of like, I get it, we're good right now, but it's just like, I still feel like this team, I want to build a championship team. And I feel like as constructed today, yeah, we went 4 in a row, and it's easy to be like, all right, like, let's not trade anybody. But it's just like, I still think that we're still a few pieces away from achieving that goal, getting that championship.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, we're definitely in a different position. And nowadays, it's like when we're going through our losing streak. The only person I was for sure set on that I was going to stay was Landry Shamet, because I feel like we just can't get rid of this guy.
You
So
cannot.
yeah, so
Please, please get rid of him, please.
so like.
Destroy this man. Oh my god.
Yeah, so like it's been a rough 2 months. I mean, we've been talking in the group chat during these games, like, what the hell is this Suns team? But at the same time, the cards that Monty was dealt with, considering all the injuries, we're out of 5 out of our 8 top players on the roster were out, and Jay Crowder's kind of being a bitch. Like it just things just wasn't what it was supposed to be going into the season. It was supposed to be a redemption season. Like, that was a fluky season, and like, we're kind of proving a lot of people right. But with all the injuries stacked up, I mean, it kind of gave us some insurance to kind of lean on. Like, wait till these guys come back. And as soon as Cam Johnson stepped back on the floor, he made an instant impact. And you've definitely felt it these last 4 games, and that's the exception. Not only the exception, but that just Cam Johnson making that whole rule a thing. So when Devin Booker comes back in I think like 2 weeks from now, possibly, I think we're going to be looking at a completely different team. But with this trade deadline coming, which we'll dabble in a little bit, I mean, it makes you wonder who's going to be sticking around and if this ownership situation is going to be dealt with by then. And because everything is all, hearsay as of right now. Yeah, Shams and Wendy can say one thing, but we really don't know what's going on in the front office for the Phoenix Suns. So all kidding aside, I mean, I think the starting five healthy is the best starting five in the league. It's the other 3-4 positions on the bench that we need to worry about. Cam Payne has been MIA for just as long as Booker's been out. We are very we're really lacking in the guard department and ball handling skills. Monty hasn't really bought into Dwayne Washington. I mean, I wouldn't necessarily either. I mean, Saban Lee's been good these last 15 games, but who's to say he's gone next week? So I mean, there's a lot of question marks going forward, but all of us here can agree on one thing: we need a ball handler, and we need someone that can match up Booker's efficiency. So, if Jason Tatum could get a Jaylen Brown, I mean, it shouldn't be that hard to get Devin Booker, a guy that can drop 15, 20 a night alongside Booker. But Nick, through the last couple months, what have been some of your takeaways and going into the trade deadline? What are your thoughts going forward?
This might be a hot take, but I kind of want to get rid of DeAndre Ayton at this point. I don't know if we can, because I'm not sure how the trade rules work anymore. But because I know
he has to accept it.
He has a no trade clause.
So he can be traded. Right?
He could be traded, but he has to accept it. That's just sort of the thing. Yeah.
The problem is, and this might sound crazy, and I know he's in the background, whatever, but I feel like Bismack Biyombo has been more consistent than DeAndre Ayton. When DeAndre is on, he's on. He's great. He could be an all-star. But the problem is you don't know what version you're getting. You're either getting all-star Ayton or you're getting a guy that looks like he belongs in the G League. And also, he's not as aggressive as he should be. He's not as good of a rebounder as he should be because he plays center and he's supposed to be like our best rebounder, but he's not good at that. So I think if the Suns could trade DA for, like you said, like a 2-star for Booker that can get you 15, maybe even 20 points per game, I think that wouldn't be that bad of a thing, especially because you have Biyombo and you have some length at the center position, which is something that the Suns didn't have, 2-3 years ago during that finals run. They didn't have anything at the center position as far as like DA and Jalen Smith went, but that was
okay. So I just want to say a couple things real quick. So okay, let's say we do that. Let's say we trade for another who knows who we can get at that point. But if you're starting Biyombo and he's gonna end the games, remember this guy is like a 30% free throw shooter. Remember that shit.
Hackett Biyombo is not the move
you can go with though for that.
Yeah.
You can put it like
I mean,
just go small.
There's some bigs probably out there that can be serviceable. Like I don't know if
Pirtle.
Yes.
Yeah.
But his asking price wouldn't be that much. I can't imagine we'd have to give up much but like a couple picks.
Yeah. But I feel like,
dude,
go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say I'm everybody wants to trade Ayton all the time. I would just say pump the brakes. Just remember the finals run. Remember that this guy played a role that he basically Biyombo plays, right? Like they were like, look, bro, you're not going to get the ball. Just rim run, set picks, rebound, play defense. He was getting 20 and 20s, okay, in the playoffs.
Right.
I mean, you paid the man, like, we can always make a trade in the offseason if you really want to move him. But there's that's not the position. I'm more worried about the power forward position and then another score ball handler position.
Like depth of the power forward position? Like depth?
What's that?
You said like the power forward, like depth of the power the power forward position, or like as a starter?
Well,
both.
Flexibility.
I would say both.
Yeah, I mean flexibility, right? Because Cam Johnson, when he started being the starter at power forward, he started getting hurt. We need a dude that can bang with like Jeremy Grant, some of these other big like wing players.
Jaren Jackson.
Yeah.
Jaren Jackson, like some you can't play those guys.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Or if
Pelicans,
they play a big
Jackson
lineup
Hayes,
against Memphis.
Yeah.
I will say it is
or Zion.
I will say it's a very small sample size, But in the past 3 games since Cam Johnson has been back, he's been a lot better than before his injury. But again, it's 3 games, so I'm not going to tell you that he's going to consistently be like a 17 points per game scorer. But if he's playing the way he is right now pretty consistently and he doesn't get injured, I think Cam Johnson is your best option at power forward without having to give up too much because obviously he's on the roster. But if Jaren Jackson Jr. was available, I would love Jaren Jackson Jr. I would love a guy like that.
No, I'm saying like just guarding him. Like these are the teams that we're going to see in the playoffs. And then like the game is slowed down and possessions mean more. And then like, so it's like I don't see him winning a matchup against Zion. I don't see him winning a matchup against like the Jared Jacksons or whatever, or at least playing them off the court because that's essentially what would have to happen.
Yeah,
like
because the last thing we need,
Cam Johnson has to be so good.
Yeah, the last thing we need is Cam Johnson fouling out, just because a guy like Jared Jackson's taking the ball to the hoop every time, and just Cam Johnson doesn't get those calls, and
remember, just go back to last season real quick. Remember when he matched up against Julius Randle? That was the game that he got hurt. He hit the game-winning shot, but he still got hurt in that game.
Oh yeah,
he got hurt tonight. He got hurt tonight.
Did he get hurt tonight?
Yeah,
he got smacked in the face. Look like he got stung by a bee. I was like,
I got fucking rocked, and they didn't even call it. I was like, wait, are they gonna call it?
Out.
Oh, that was crazy.
Yeah, look like he got his wisdom tooth took out.
Like look, Jay Crowder, Torrey Craig ain't it, dude. Those guys are not it. Like I know Jay Crowder is like made himself think he's this super valuable player where he's like literally exchangeable for like most 3-and-D players in the league. He's not that good. And then Torrey Craig is basically, I think the guy needs a holiday, dude. I don't know what's up. He needs a break because this guy's putting up like goose eggs in like 20-minute games where he hasn't even scored.
I don't think he's a bad rebounder. I just think every other aspect of the game he could definitely work on because he has not been the same since, you could say, even last year. But as far as like a rebounder goes, he plays a role up, but
and I think the problem is that he's been playing too much because everybody's too hurt. And so he's been playing so much that he's just like, he's at that position.
Hasn't he started before? Hasn't he started during this time?
Yeah.
He's not a starter. He's like a guy that'll get you 10 minutes max. And that's on a crazy night.
Yeah, he
started tonight.
No, but I'm saying like what he normally is. He's someone that's like normally in a perfect world, he's gonna get 10 minutes max.
15, yeah.
Yeah, like he's not gonna do crazy numbers.
Basically, I think that Josh Okogie is Torrey Craig now. Like he can give you like 15 minutes. Maybe he can make a shot, but he's gonna D the fuck up and get some rebounds and do all that shit. Torrey Craig ain't that guy anymore. Like, and it's sad because he's in a contract year. And we know what he did against Paul George in the Western Conference Finals in 2021. But I'm kind of over Torrey Craig, bro.
Yeah. I mean, I love Torrey Craig, but if you're talking about for the team winning, I don't think he's it.
Well, my only beef with that is I agree with you, but I just feel like Torrey Craig, like if we deduce his role, and I feel like just because only reason I feel the same way about Ayton or trading him too, like I will trade Ayton, but I just feel like those guys show up when we need them to. You know what I'm saying? Like Torrey Craig, like he doesn't show up on a Wednesday in December, but like when we need him in the playoffs to go get rebounds or in those moments where we're actually playing up on people or like when we're actually playing against teams that we want to beat, like DeAndre Ayton and Torrey Craig show up. So it's like, I see where he's going, but I also see that side of it too. Like I can't remember a game where it's just like we lost because Torrey Craig did or didn't do something or wasn't out there leaving it all on the floor. You know what I'm saying? Like I can't go that far with it.
Yeah, but the difference is DeAndre Ayton will still give you like 17 and 9. Whereas Torrey Craig will give you 0 and like 4 rebounds.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean we're comparing like, an apple to a fucking like a cutie. So
exactly. Like
with Torrey Craig, he's just been playing out of position for 2 months. So I'm not gonna crucify him. He does have the worst defensive efficiency on the team. I think it's just because he's just put in really bad predicaments, and Mikhail kind of has to play cleanup and just filling the holes from there. But going into this 4-game stretch that's been going on, and going into the trade deadline, it's going to get really interesting in these next couple weeks. We went from having pretty valuable picks to having sort of mid picks, and going into the trade deadline, I know there's going to be names that you guys are going to be eyeing and for possibly the Suns to pursue. I'm just hoping this ownership shit is situated by the trade deadline, but
it's not going to happen. They've already said that it won't happen before the trade deadline.
Yeah, because I think it's the 9th. I want to say because I was looking into this earlier. Okay, that's the exact date. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I got my 3 then.
But that doesn't mean that. I mean, when we're talking offline, it doesn't mean that they don't have the ability to make decisions. That was the whole thing: is can they take on money, trade away picks, take on contracts, right?
Yeah.
Basically, the Shams report said that they can't. So if that is the case, if that is true, then we're just waiting for James Jones to do something. I think he's done a lot. What he's done in the last couple of years is done all these little margin deals, get some guys like Torrey Craig or whatever, just to kind of fill in some roles. I think at this point, and I think he's being smart about it and we could talk about the Rui deal, but the Rui Hachimura one, like if we take him back and give up what the Lakers gave up, we're taking on somebody that needs a contract next year. So,
exactly.
And
then the CBA shit too.
This year. We have to pay Cam.
Yeah.
So, like,
didn't he not get paid or did he?
Who?
Cam. Like, did he get paid?
He hasn't been paid yet.
No. Okay. I don't know why I thought he got to pay. Okay. Yeah, he's definitely got to pay him, obviously.
Yeah. So, I mean, my point is that, like, I think he's trying to measure and be like, okay, how many guys do we have to pay next year? Because think about it, like, even with this team being shitty for 2 months, like, we got so much out of like 4 guys on minimum deals. Dwayne Washington Jr., Josh Okogie, Damian Lee, and Saban Lee. Yeah. And Jock Landale too. All minimum deals, and they're maximizing those guys. So imagine you build this team, maximize like the top 7 guys that we have, and then just build minimum guys around them, and Monty can coach them up. Even though I know Suns fan Randy doesn't think Monty can maybe coach them up, but
100%.
Also, I'm going to say
I
called this when this happened. I told y'all Damon Lee was going to be good for the Suns. I called that shit the day it happened because people were like, "Oh, I don't know if he's going to be that good."
You did say that.
Minimum deal. This guy's going to be special, and I was fucking right.
And then the part about Damian Lee, sorry to cut you off, but like it irritates me so much is like he's leading the league in 3-point percentages. Like, why can't this man get at least 6 attempts a game?
Thank you.
Yeah. Come on, Mont. Like, what are you doing? Like, we just started shooting threes like maybe 2 games ago. Like, we shot 40 tonight, and then we shot 35 the night before that. And it's just like you have the best 3-point shooter in the league percentage wise, and he shoots like maybe twice a game. So it's just like,
anyways, come on, man. Ahead. If the more he shoots, the more it goes down. There's like 100%. Guys like. Yeah, there's guys like Steph and Cam Johnson. Those guys, the more they shoot, it just stays the same no matter what.
Yeah, the more I'm looking at, it's like when he shoots threes, I'm not worried. I'm like, oh, he's gonna make that. Like he's very, very consistent, and he doesn't need to take like 10 threes to get that percentage. He could take like 6, and he'll make 4 or 5 of them depending on the game.
I mean, with Hachimura, for example, last season he had one of his best 3-point shooting seasons of his career, but he was only averaging maybe 3 attempts a game coming off the bench. So I think he was at 45, 47. I mean, really good percentage, but the attempts got to be there. With Cam Johnson, you can just tell it's going to go down. It's just like how he strokes that thing. So pause, but still, But Ahmed, starting with you, I know you got to have 3 names in mind that you want the Suns to pursue. I think all of us are on the same page of where we need to tackle most. Give us your 3 names that you're kind of eyeing.
Who, me?
Dude, I'm still trying to figure out what the hell the Wizards are doing because they're not willing to take
one. They're tanking. There's no other, or they're setting their team on
fire.
They
beat Dallas tonight.
Yeah, they did. Yeah,
that's fine, but like, why the hell does Bradley Beal want to be there?
Well, actually, I think I understand why. If you're talking about the Rui trade, I think I know why that happened.
No, forget the Rui trade. I'm just saying, what does it take to get Bradley Beal out of Washington, D.C.?
What does that take? I guess he's comfortable there. But like,
I don't know what he wants. Like, why wouldn't you
it's
want to
like
come
with
to the
Dame.
Suns?
It's just like Dame. Like, why are you still there? This team is not going to build around you. At least build a good team. Like,
But-
why are you still there?
But at least the Portland Trailblazers went out and got Jeremy Grant. They made some moves. They tried it. They got Simons. They traded away
Mhm.
the
Fucking
dude
CJ
to-
McCollum, dude.
CJ.
And that
So-
was not
so-
a bad trade, actually. Looking at it.
But the thing is that like now, if I'm Portland, I'm the Suns. I'm going, okay, maybe Jeremy Grant's a guy. So the guys I'm talking about, Bradley Beal would be my number one guy if I could get him, because that could go.
Yeah.
That's like, it bridges CP3 when we move forward. Because with the lineup that we put out tonight, with like Cam Johnson, Mikal at the wings, and then CP3, and then Torrey Craig, like if Book is a point guard with that lineup, or Bradley Beal's a point guard, like whoever it is, like you don't actually need a point guard. Like you just got solid players all around the court. You're going to score no matter what. Doesn't matter
He
what
could
it
be
is.
a combo guard. He could be a combo guard.
Exactly.
Mhm.
I mean, that's what all these guys are at this point. I mean, Mikal's been playing point guard for like a week or 2 weeks.
Yeah, Mikal.
Um,
I did not see that coming. See
Yeah.
Mikal playing point guard, but not
Yeah,
Booker.
he's
not
a-
playing point guard. I think statistically, Booker is a pretty good point guard. He's a great playmaker when it needs to be. Obviously, he's a scorer. But we've always known he's been a scorer. Like Booker does play that point guard role well, but obviously when you have Chris Paul, I mean, you're not going to play, Chris Paul not a point guard when you have him on your roster. But if they needed to, I think Book's a great point guard. And then having like
So-
CB3 come off the bench.
So going back to like the three players, I think the first guy I would want to get Bradley Beal. I think Eric Gordon. I don't know what's going on with that deal. I don't think that deal is ever going to happen now.
Yeah.
Right.
So the other player I'm looking at is Lauri Markkanen. I don't know what Utah's doing. Again,
There's
all
no-
these teams are in
there's
the
no way they
we're
give
all
that
kind
up.
of like
There's no way.
jockeying for
Yeah.
position.
I would love Laurie.
But I think he is basically a level up to Saric, right? Like he can do a lot of things that Saric can do better. He's younger. He's a little bit more
coach?
athletic.
That's who that was. Like, who was
What's up,
that?
Evan? So yeah, I mean, but again, what does it take? Because you're trading with Danny Ainge, and he doesn't want to give up shit. He wants everything from you. So I don't know, man. This whole trade market got screwed up by the Gobert and the Donovan Mitchell trades.
That was
It's
the
tough.
worst. That was the worst trade I've ever seen. I'm gonna
It might be the worst trade
5
of all time.
first-round picks and like some good like role players.
Yeah.
Might be the worst trade of all time. But then if we're looking on the fringes, maybe there's some swaps out there you can do, and you could do a big fuck you to Jay Crowder and send him to like San Antonio for one of their wing players.
That'd be fucking awesome, bro. Fuck Jake.
No, they should, because he really fucked this team. Like they could have.
Yeah.
This team
Yeah.
actually would have been probably close to 1 or 2 if we had him. Like if we had just a decent wing, serviceable player. And the fact that this guy doesn't want to show up, he wants money, and it's like,
Yeah.
dude, you are so expendable compared to everybody else.
Exactly.
what do you
He's
want?
a 3D player with an ego. Like,
Yeah.
like I don't understand why Cam Johnson thought he should be a starter because I'm not Cam Johnson, I'm sorry, Jay Crowder. Because I think the whole reason why he's pissed, and I could be wrong, I'm like 99%
What's going on,
sure
Mike?
because he wants to start. And like he's not starting, so he's like, oh, I don't want to be here anymore. Cam Johnson is statistically a better player than Cam Johnson. And I know the role that Jay Crowder plays is very important, but I think that can also be valuable, off the bench. Like when you need someone in those like late game situations, I think Jay Crowder might be that player to go at that certain time. But as far as the starter goes, Cam Johnson's proven himself.
I said before last season that I thought Cam Johnson should have been the starter in 2020, 2021 or 2022, whatever.
He should have or should not have.
He should have been the starter over Jay
Like,
Crowder.
this is
should.
like a long time coming. Like
Yeah,
this
Me and
is
Ahmed,
a
me and
while.
Ahmed were on the same page about that. Like 5 games into the season, we're like Cam
Yeah.
Johnson should be starting at this point. Like with Jay starting, I mean, we really don't need to sacrifice defense like that when you have Mikal and Da. So
Exactly.
Let me ask you this: if we do make a move for like Kyle
Yes,
Kuzma,
by the way, yes on that deal. Yes, absolutely.
if we make a move for
100%. Put that down right there.
Bro, you can
I'll
trade
take
me
Alex
as well.
Caruso.
I will gladly be in that trade if we can get that done. I would love Alex Caruso. That's my goat. That's my.
I'm cool with Alex Caruso, Mike.
So if we make a move, because my thing is I don't see us doing anything in trade deadline. I'm looking more towards the offseason on who we can get. And I feel like if Kyle Kuzma comes, this Cam Johnson still start? Or is it just like we had him fight for it or earn it or whatever the case may be? Because like some guys that I want in the offseason is Jeremy Grant or Kyle Kuzma. Like we got to leave the summer one of the two. And maybe Fred.
We need guard depth, so that's really what it is. I mean, Jay's just taking up a roster spot, so I mean, literally anybody. Like you can throw in Derek White, and I'll be cool with it, you know. So. Just real quick, and then we'll talk about your thing, Randy. Fred VanVleet. I'm not crazy about VanVleet. I don't know about everybody else here.
I'm not either.
I just don't want another Chris Paul situation going on, you know. That's just where I'm at.
No, the thing about Fred VanVleet, like when you see him play, you're like, oh, he hustles, he plays D. He's kind of like the Kyle Lowry, but a better shooter. You know, he can create a little bit more. But the thing is, his shooting percentages are terrible. If you go look at like what he shoots,
I think it's like less than 30%.
Yeah,
it's I think it's like 38%. I think he shoots 30% on regular field.
34%. 34%.
Yeah,
34.
Is for three or for his field
for three. He's shooting 34% from three.
Yeah,
and 34%
from three. And if you look at his regular, it's like 38. So he's not a good shooter. He's not like CP3. You need somebody behind CP3 that can at least threaten the defense with shooting, right?
Push the pace
Yeah. And I'd rather have Campaign than him for sure.
I mean, CP3 does shoot 40% from three. Like it's by far better than Fred VanVleet.
Yeah. Before we get too deep into this VanVleet thing, because I'm going to be touching on that a little later. Randy, so you're more looking into the off-season acquisitions more than the deadline. Do you think we're at least going to make one deal just to get this Jay Crowder thing situated?
Nah, I don't think so. Like, I think that we probably end up in a buyout kind of situation with Jay Crowder. Just because I don't believe I don't believe that James Jones has the ability to make trades or like, you know what I'm saying? Or if anything, I think that he might be trying to swing towards the fence. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like I don't see it. Because I feel like really realistically, like some of the guys is cool, but I feel like we still need like a valid player, you know what I'm saying, to put us over the top or at least put us in the conversation for like a championship. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Because I just feel like as constructed.
But what are three names that you're looking for in the offseason then if the deadline isn't it? Like you mentioned Jeremy Grant. I'm on the same board with you. Jeremy Grant at the 4 would be amazing for this team. Who else is on your list?
I think that if we could somehow get like maybe a Karis LeVert like on a solid deal, you know what I'm saying? Have him come
LeVert would be cool.
Off the bench. And then I know they talked about it earlier and I kind of liked them or earlier in the season. Max Strus is another guy that they talked about making a trade for. So I was just like, all right, like, but yeah, we definitely need, I'm going more so like ball handlers and power forwards. Like, you know what I'm saying? Because I feel like if we can get that, then we good.
I wasn't expecting you to throw out Max Strus. Like I like him. I'm just not incredibly sold. Maybe it's the Heat culture that I'm not too bought into with him. I mean, the Heat culture is really good. I mean, he kind of brings out the best of kind of like all their players. I mean, that's just how it is. I just don't know like how he would be when you take him out of that position. So it's definitely up there. Max Strus is definitely a guard that you can definitely go after. Before I get into mine, Nick, did you have three names in mind for the deadline?
Yeah, so I have 4, but one of them I'm gonna go like very, very quick because it's like kind of like an honorable mention. Jeez. But I know like Amit was talking like power forwards. I think even Randy talked about power forwards. I'm more focused on getting like some guards, and like one of them is kind of like a small forward and shooting guard. So the first one is Terry Rozier. My only issue is that with the Hornets, he is putting up big numbers, but I don't know if he's on the Hornets, so that's why he's putting up big numbers, or if this is he can actually be a 20 points per game scorer. Lou Dort is also someone I would love to have. He'd be a great defensive player. I think he'd be, great in our rotation as well. This one is the one I'm kind of reaching for a little bit is Gary Trent Jr. I think Gary Trent Jr. has some of the biggest upside, in the league right now. He's definitely been one of my favorite players these past couple seasons. And Bogdan Bogdanovic. I know we talked about it last year possibly happening, But if the Suns get Bogdan Bogdanovic, I think it'd be again great for the rotation because I'm not too worried about the starters. Like unless the Suns could somehow get Kuzma by like some crazy ass trade, yeah, I'd love that. But in our reality, I don't think the Suns need to tweak their starting lineup that much, unless obviously we're trading like DeAndre Ayton or we're getting Kyle Kuzma. But for the most part, I'm more focused about the rotation and things that.
So did you say like the guy from the Heat or the guy from the
Hawks? From the Hawks.
Or the Hawks, yeah. Hawks.
Okay,
sorry.
The Detroit one.
Yeah, I think it's the Detroit one. I'm pretty sure you was on
okay.
Utah.
Never mind.
The Detroit one is the one we're talking about, the good one.
Yeah.
Like we're talking about.
The other one is also he's a free agent.
That's all the wrong guy. Hold up.
Which guy are you talking about? So I'll just say this: like we sound ignorant because it's like, hey, we want you to get John Smith. No, Juan Smith. Like, okay, it's the same dude. Man.
Bojan. Jesus.
Yeah.
Bojan. Okay. No,
Bojan. Yeah.
I suck it. Okay, yeah. Because I
Yeah.
read it on this list. I'm like, oh, that Bojan. I'm like, oh fuck, nope, that's not the yeah. Bojan Bogdanovic. How the fuck?
No, the guy's a bucket getter. He would fit perfectly on this team. He can play a little bit out of position. He can't give you defense, but he can give you that offensive thing, which I think like we all need. So I think so we've been talking about like point guards or like backcourt players, but even if it's a guy that's like Bojan, a wing player that can give you that same like offensive hub where everything creates out of what he does.
Right.
I think it's the same thing, as long as you have defensive help at that position, that's not Cam Johnson or him.
Yeah,
does that make sense?
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
So you need like a Derek Favors, somebody.
Yeah.
What's that?
I was gonna say he can run the point kind of too, because especially now we're having Mikal bring it up, or we're trying to get the ball out of CP3's hands because I guess other teams know like our whole offense runs through CP3 now, so it's just like now we got to figure it out. So I think that it'll definitely be a super solid piece over here.
Absolutely. And I think he's on a really good deal. I think he's like a 2-year, $20 million deal or something like that, or 2-year, 40.
For who?
For your guy, Ron Smith.
I'm looking at it right now. $3.5 million each year.
Ooh.
No. Are you talking about the same guy from Detroit?
The guy on the Jazz. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, he's all right.
Yeah, he's
wow. That's a deal.
Yeah.
No way. Are you sure?
I'm pretty sure he's
making
way.
like $10 million.
Huh?
Because we would have made that deal, I feel like.
He's number 44 on the Jazz. Yeah, I'm looking at it right now, $3.5 million per year.
But he's on
Detroit now.
Huh?
Hold up. Because he signed an extension. He signed an extension with them.
He has to be getting paid more.
Yeah, I'm just going off what it says on Google right here, but I think I do remember hearing.
Hoops Hype is a reliable source. He is making $19.5 million this year and $20 million next year and $19 million in the following year.
Okay, so
is it a player option?
It doesn't kick into like what next year then?
No. I don't know. It doesn't say here anything about a player option, but he is making 19.5 this year.
Oh,
so if you're gonna make that deal work with the Suns.
Oh yeah, I see it right now. It's making like okay.
Yeah, so to make that deal, you're gonna trade Saric and Jay Crowder, and probably at least a first-round pick, if not more.
Yeah. For Jay Crowder, if we can't get anything out of him, can we just like drive in like the middle of the desert and just like drop him off there? I think
some like hangover shit.
Exactly. Not exactly.
Yeah,
like, if we can't get anything for him.
Yeah, a 2-year, $40 million. So $90 million this year. Okay. Yeah,
which is fine.
I mean,
look, like,
which is cool. Yeah,
like. I think if that, I don't know what Detroit's doing. Again, I have no idea what these teams are doing because Detroit is one of those teams that are like, bro, you should be tanking. What are you thinking of keeping a guy that can help you win games right now? Like, get rid of him, get rid of everybody except like Cade and maybe
he's
Bane.
done for the year.
Yeah, did they get rid of
Killian?
No?
Oh yeah,
Killian. So like, I mean, I love Killian, but like he's so like. And sometimes like it pisses me off because I love
Yeah, like my picks. I mean, going off what Randy said, I'm definitely eyeing Jeremy Grant. I don't think he entirely fits in the Portland system. I think Portland's going to hang on to him at least until that till the end of the season. But Jeremy Grant on this team, I mean, would make my world. Julius Randle is another guy I'm looking at too. He had a really good night tonight. I think he had 35 and he had a good amount of boards. Yeah, he's a guy I think would fit in this system pretty well. Just a bull in a china shop. I mean, he can get to the line whenever he needs to, and he can get those easy buckets down below. And plus, like
you don't think that he needs the ball too much? I think he needs the ball in his hands. I don't think he can operate.
He needs like a lot of touches. Yeah,
I think that's just all we've seen. I think because the Knicks didn't really have anybody, and someone had to
I don't
do
know,
it.
man. I remember when he was with the Lakers early on, and he couldn't fit. He couldn't be consistent because there was just too many other young players that needed the ball when he was there. I don't know.
Right.
Like.
I was
talking about a shitty team that put a lot of minutes. So,
to be honest,
I'm
not exactly big on him.
I don't really remember his Laker days like that. It being that way, but when he got to the Knicks, nobody was there that had a shooting presence. And for sure, like he probably molded into a guy that needs the ball in his hand. I'm not going to deny that, but who's to say Monty's system doesn't fix that a little bit, or at least tweak it to our liking, you know? But that's hearsay. I mean, I'm not
I just don't think he shoots a good enough. I'd have to look up his 3-point percentages, but I don't think he's a good enough 3-point shooter to play with the Suns.
Right. Yeah. That is a thing that if you're going to be on this team, you got to be able to pop on the wing or the corner and just like if you're open, you take it. Julius Randle isn't like a catch and shoot guy. He's just more of like a slower Harden, and you just gotta hope he can get the ball off. Another thing that I'm looking at as well, Westfield kind of brings it up here, OG, but I'm thinking about the Toronto Raptors as a whole. They have a lot of players that I would love to acquire, and they're in the position where I don't know what the fuck they're doing because they're not going to be competitive this year.
They should be so good.
They should be really good, and they're not.
It's so annoying. Like, I've been saying, like, oh, this Raptors team, they're going to be one of the best teams in the East. And I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? You guys have a great roster. You have great rotation. I don't know what's going on. I don't know who to blame. Like, usually I can just blame someone. I don't know who to blame at this point. I really don't know. Yeah, I would love OG, man. I would love OG.
Yeah, I don't know if it's the culture there, the coaching, or the players just don't want to be there. But something did come out today from some Toronto Raptor insiders that they're hearing that OG doesn't even want to be there. So that's something to keep in mind going forward. But I'm not giving up 3 picks for OG on potential.
No way. No way.
That's something you do to acquire like Luka or something along with players. That's just
if you're getting Luka, I'm giving 5 picks. My soul of Raising Cane's and In and Out, like I'm giving up the city for Luka. Like I know some of y'all don't like Luka, but from a basketball standpoint, I'd give up just about anything for Luka, except obviously Booker.
Yeah, basically you gotta throw in like a Chipotle bowl with extra guac,
So it's a gold card while you're at it.
Like you gotta put your money where your mouth is at the end of the day, But Toronto has so many pieces. I mean, obviously, have been talking about Siakam. Gary Trent is one of the more dangerous guys beyond the arc, but he can create in the inside like Sean Livingston effortlessly. I don't think Scotty Barnes is on the table, but he's not playing as good as he was last season.
He's making improvements though. He definitely has like gotten better ever since there was like a point in the season where you said he was terrible, but he definitely has stepped up and now he's showing like, okay, this is why this guy was so good. But I think it's just going with how Toronto's playing right now. I think that's why he doesn't look that good.
I mean,
but I wanted to make a point about Julius Randle real quick because I know you guys were talking about that. Like, oh, he might need the ball in his hands. So according to CleanTheGlass.com, ever since Julius Randle became a good player, he's been top 5 in the league as far as usage percentage goes and like needing the ball in his hands. So I think you're right. If he does come to Phoenix, then, we're going to be losing a lot of touches from a lot of guys. So that's the only way he's really going to be effective.
Yeah.
But even then, I don't know. No, go ahead.
The last thing you want to do is take touches away from Devin Booker.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly.
He has to be the first priority. I would imagine Booker's the first priority as far as touches go. Like I wouldn't take it away from him, but like from Chris, Mikal, I wouldn't mind taking that away.
And we've seen like this team work, and basically a lot of touches come out of his hands and go to CP3, right? And now with the team, how it's like we've had a bunch of guys become the number one option on this team. Like I'm just looking at it and going like, this can be really good. It's a fragile situation because like you want these guys to stay that aggressive. Like the Cam Johnson tonight was like calling for the ball. He's like, yo, CP3, I'm moving. I'm going to be here. Throw me the ball. Like
and he made a lot of his shots also. I love the aggressiveness.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I mean, you need that sort of aggressiveness. And if you're getting that from like your number 4 guy on your team, like the ball has to move. You know, it can't be stuck with Booker or CP3. So it's going to be interesting how they make this work. I'm a little concerned about that because like it for CP3 and especially for Mikal, it takes them a little bit of time to get to their spots on the court where they want to shoot from. And it takes away from other players like moving or getting their own shot. So we'll see how it works out. Because, you know, Devin Booker, that guy is so flawless that he can just catch the ball, shoot it, make it. It doesn't need a second to get the ball up.
Yeah,
needs one
of the
dribble.
best
That's all he needs.
In the NBA, I would argue. Like as far as
the best
shooter goes, yeah, I would say like he'd be able to catch it and then quickly get it up and have a good shot. I think he's like one of the best when it comes to that.
Like he can get the ball like James Harden and dribble 10 times and get a shot, or you can just fling him the ball anywhere and he'll just throw it up and it's the same shot.
Now, what I'm about to say is I'm not saying Booker's Curry, but I'm only referring to this as what Curry does. I noticed Curry when he was like at his absolute prime that he never really needed screens to get shots. He was amazing when it came to creating his own shot. And I think the same could be said for Booker. Like Booker doesn't need to utilize as much screens to be a scorer. Obviously, they use the pick and roll game because,
100%. The only thing that's different is that it makes everybody else better when they run those screens because they get open. And so if Booker doesn't have a shot, and I've seen him be so unselfish to pass out to shooters or like to make these crazy like left-handed passes across court to guys. So like, you know, like it just makes the team better when they do that for him.
But if you're referring to like a late game situation, we need a score. Booker doesn't really need a screen. All he needs is if he can like run an ISO, he's really good at that like contested like three, those like contested step backs. He is amazing at that. And as far as a mid-range shooter goes, flawless, beautiful.
Yeah.
And we could talk good about Booker for a whole like day. Like Booker has so many like good things about him. Like it's insane.
And we haven't seen him play in 2 months and we all remember it.
I know. Just to finish my point with the Raptors, and then I'll list off the other names that I have in mind. They just have, Thad Young, we've had conversations about him previously. And then, Scotty Barnes and Siakam, Gary Trent, just everybody from top to bottom is someone if any of those guys I would love in a deal. Jordan Clarkson, his name's been floating around too. Jordan Clarkson would be great off the bench, but that's the thing. He's getting paid starting money as a bench guy. I'm not totally crazy about that. But I mean, he does bring that shooting presence.
Like, if we're looking at Utah, I think Markkanen makes more sense than Clarkson.
Yeah, I'd rather Markkanen, honestly. But I don't know if they're trying to build around Markkanen or Clarkson. That's just where I'm at. It could be both too. If somehow we can get Markkanen, him at the 4 would be lethal next to DA.
The reason I would say Markkanen. What's that?
Well, I said I just don't see Utah giving up Markkanen because I think we all assume, they're gonna get Victor Wembanyama, but Utah has a good team, and I don't think there's any way they give up Lauri Markkanen. Unless they just decide they're going to do a quick 180 and they're like, okay, let's get rid of Markkanen, let's get rid of Jordan Clarkson. But I don't see a situation where Utah even considers giving up Lauri Markkanen because obviously they just lost Donovan Mitchell and Gobert. But I think he could be their franchise player for the next, 5-10 years, however long he's in the league. I think this is now Lauri's home.
I think he's probably maybe if you're on a championship team, he's maybe your second or third best player, to be honest.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And the reason that Clarkson doesn't make a lot of sense is that he's a sixth man, right? Like I know he's starting now for this team, but when they were the number one seed in the playoffs, he was their sixth best player, or their sixth option, I should say.
Yeah.
So, like, you can't bring him to a team like the Suns and be like, okay, you're going to be like our seventh best option, maybe, right? Because if you're bringing Cam off the bench, if you're bringing some of these other guys off the bench, like, he may not be like that guy. So, you know, that's why I think like Markkanen at a power forward position, you could build with a lineup of DeAndre, Markkanen, Cam Johnson, Mikal Bridges, Booker. That's a core. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, absolutely. But about Clarkson, real quick, this might be a hot take because I think you called him with the sixth option last year because he was being a sixth man last year. I think this might be a hot take, but I think he was the third option last year on that Jazz team as far as being an offensive player goes. Because I've said this about starting lineups before. I don't think the starting lineup really like says like what option you are or like how valuable you are for a team. I think that's why Jay Crowder was starting over Cam Johnson, honestly, for a while, because Cam Johnson played a certain role and Jay Crowder played a certain role. But if you're asking me who's more of an offensive option, Cam Johnson or Jay Crowder, I would have told you Cam Johnson. And in this case, I think Rudy Gobert, he's useless on offense, even though I've tried defending before. That's useless.
No, you're right. You're right.
Donovan Mitchell, absolutely. And I think the other argument you can make is Mike Conley, because Mike Conley, I think he's a great guard. But if we're looking at the offensive option and we're in a late game situation, if I'm Utah, I think Clarkson was the second or third option most times, even though you're right, he is a six man. But I will say, as a starter, he's having his by far best year. He's a 20 plus points per game scorer. So I would say he's a six option, but I definitely think if he came to a team like Phoenix and he played, that 6-man role, he'd excel.
Yeah,
because he's not going to start. Obviously, there's no way. Like there's just.
I would say I would say he's probably the fourth option. Your boy Bogdan, on that team is probably the third. Juan Smith. But anyways, like, yeah, I think like you're right. Like the problem is like if you and I don't know, I have to look at what Clarkson's contract is. I just don't think that. I think we need a guy like that. We need Eric Gordon. We need a Terry Rozier. We need one of those guys that can just come in, ball handler, score on ISO. But we don't.
He's making $13 million a year, by the way. He's making
13 and how many years?
Let me see. I think he's almost done with it.
Are we talking about Terry?
No, I'm talking about Clarkson.
Clarkson. Only 13?
2023, 2024 will be his final year. And that is a player option. So, yeah, this could be his last year on Utah if he absolutely wants to leave.
Interesting.
Oh,
And if you told me like I had to give a first round pick, I'd do it for that.
Yeah,
even if it was a 1 year
definitely
deal.
By far.
1 year deal, I'd do it. I think that's what we know what we're missing. We know what this team's missing. But then when we see this team like fully together, I think at some points we kind of squint and go, maybe this is good enough.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not trying to fall in that again, I think that's just kind of what we fell into last season. Like, continuity only gets you so far, So, like, we're not, Golden State. We're not, the 2008 Boston Celtics, even though they acquired, Kevin Garnett and all that. But then I'm just gonna just two more names, really three. I mean, Kuzma obviously, Vanderbilt too. I would love Jared Vanderbilt on this team. I think he'll fit really well. And Terry Rozier, I mean, he was always a name that I kind of had in mind as being a backup point guard. If even if we still have Campaign, I mean, Campaign being a second, third, string point guard, I'm not going to really bitch about it. If we have Terry Rozier, I think that adds a tremendous amount of depth and a really good positive outcome. We can get Eric Gordon and stuff, but he's on his last legs, and obviously Houston wants still like a couple picks for him, and I'm just not willing to do that at this point. Eric Gordon's tough. I don't know.
I mean, I'm gonna be really mad if like somebody like the Clippers gets Eric Gordon for like some stupid trade, like a
They sent Batum or something.
Reggie Jackson or something, like some, like, you know what I mean? Like, it's gonna really make me upset if we don't get that. I mean, we know what we need, and these deals have been there. They've been there since last trade deadline. The Eric Gordon, the Clarkson, maybe not the Clarkson, but the Eric Gordon. Some of these other deals were there. The Kuzma deal, I think, was there. I mean, I feel like James Jones really looking for a power forward that can change the game. And we have several expiring contracts that can make it work. Otherwise, you go for the big swing and you go for like a Bradley Beal or a Damian Lillard or something like that, right? I mean, look, like this team, I know I don't like him. I don't like that guy. I don't think he does anything for me.
If he's in the rotation, I wouldn't mind him. Like if we give up something cheap, I wouldn't hate it, but I wouldn't give up too much for Quickly, to be honest. But he has upside. He's 23. He averages like 13 a game. I think he'd be a decent rotation player. But I wouldn't give up like anything crazy like I would for Terry or possibly Fred if we're that down bad.
Yeah, Emmanuel Quickly, I don't think the Knicks want to get rid of him. I think he's a good second option outside of Jalen Brunson. So I think we're going to hang on to him. Like, I think he's a cool player. I just don't think that's what we need. That doesn't move the needle at all for me. So,
and honestly, like, Quickly is still a project player. Look, like, I think the reason that the Rui deal didn't happen is because he's a project too, right? I think we are looking for guys that are going to. We know what their value is right now, right? Eric Gordon, Kyle Kuzma, Clarkson, even a Conley, whoever the guy is, we know what they can do right now. We're not looking for somebody that can do something later on. So, either a deal happens now or a bigger deal happens in the offseason and we run through it. And we say, look, this is a team that we have. I think that I keep saying we need a power forward or a ball handler. But Campaign, when he started, played really well. He hasn't played.
He's one of the best point guards in the league.
Yeah,
Campaign.
Statistically.
like efficient wise, yeah.
Efficiency, scoring percentage, and shooting efficiency. Yeah.
I thought you were starting like a campaign dialogue. I was about to say, hold on.
Yeah.
No, I mean, look, we know, because that's the thing. Campaign, I think, is one of those guys that needs consistent time. If he's in a starting role, he knows what his role is. He can do that. He knows like he's going to play 35 plus minutes. But in a backup role, it varies, especially when you're playing in a playoff series and you got Chris Paul in front of you. You're not going to get those minutes, so he doesn't play as well. I mean, we saw what he did when Chris Paul was out in the Western Conference Finals. The guy had like 20 and 5 when Booker had the triple-double, right? So, I mean, I don't know what to say. I'm not the GM, so I can't tell you, but I just feel like I think we got to we got to go another week and see what we have, see what's available, see what other trades happen before we make a deal.
Because that's a good point, because we are only, I believe, 4 games out of third place. So, I mean, a lot could change from now till then. So, I mean, like, just in this last week alone, our picks have gone from being nice to, like, them being kind of mid. So, I think at least at the trade deadline, we're going to figure out this whole Jay Crowder situation. I'm hoping for a needle push. I'm not going to hold my breath about it. I think a lot of teams are going to be selling this go around to make up for the really awful offseason that we had previously because of the Rudy Gobert thing and the Donovan Mitchell thing and the KD thing. So, with all those things going on, I definitely think there's going to be a lot of moving around in the league. And one guy I'm going to kind of keep my eye on, for some reason, I have a gut feeling that Zach LaVine is going to be moved, and I think he's going to go to Dallas. I've had this weird fucking feeling about it, and that I really don't want to see that personally, because that just adds another layer to this already packed up West. In other news, just before we get out of here, LeBron dropped 46 tonight. The dude is like 39 years old.
Cool, man. He lost. He lost.
Yeah, he lost, but that's insane.
LeBron is an old man.
Listen, dude. Listen, like I'm so sick of LeBron, and this everybody's talking about him, how he's so old, and his team doesn't. He's irrelevant in the NBA. He's an irrelevant player. He is Devin Booker. The way we talk, everybody in the NBA talked about him. The media talked about him 5 years ago. Oh, he dropped 70 points. We'll win a game. That's where you are with LeBron, dude. I'm sick of this shit. Yeah, you can put up points when your team sucks, when you put up 30 shots, okay? I'm so sick of LeBron and all this stuff because, dude, like I'm a little older than you guys. I didn't see the Kareem play in his prime, but I saw a lot of stuff afterwards. Kareem, when he was 38, was an MVP candidate, like leading his team to a championship versus what LeBron's doing right now. And I'm just over LeBron. Like this whole thing is just a circus.
Wait, you said Kareem in his final season was an MVP candidate?
No. When he was 38 years old. Okay.
I was about to say, I don't know about that one, man.
No. When he was 38, the same age as LeBron is right now. That was mid 80s.
85. He had a 23-6 season. But yeah, that was as far as the mid 80s goes. Yeah, he didn't have anything that crazy. But then again, you're 30 fucking 8. But also, he was an MVP candidate, and the Lakers were in it to win a championship during that time. And LeBron, obviously, now. By the way, I'm just gonna say it's fully LeBron's fault that this team is as built as it is because this man had too much power. The GM is a real thing.
Yeah.
Let
me just say one more thing, Jay, and then you can go. Like, we like the way that we're talking about. Do we talk about CP3 the same way? Like, he's 38 or 37, and he's like putting up numbers, even though he's putting up like not LeBron numbers. But if you actually go and look at what he's doing and what Steve Nash did and some of these point guards, like averaging double doubles at this point with like very like low turnover rate is insane. Like,
it is.
CP3 is just a master at what he's doing. And so we give LeBron all this credit. I don't know, man. I'm over it because I don't see the value in winning. And yeah, he can make these highlight plays and then we're supposed to celebrate that. Oh, he's so old. It's like J-Lo, man. Like, we know J-Lo's 52. She did the whole stripper thing. She's fucking hot still. We get it. We get it. She's so hot. We get it.
We get it. You ripped off Ashanti. We get it, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
God damn,
man. Me, I'm a LeBron advocate and stuff. And, I love when LeBron gets his flowers and success and stuff. And the NBA media and fans are very hypocritical and stuff and casuals. And that's just the world of sports. LeBron is coming down to his last leg in his career and stuff, and he's going to be passing Kareem's all-time scoring record. And I'm just keeping an eye out on that because
he's going to do the next 6 games. I think he's very close right now. Okay, he's about to do it.
Yeah, he's very close, and that's definitely going to add another thing to his already stellar resume and stuff. And like the Lakers aren't in a position to be winning right now. And obviously that's LeBron's fault because, when you give too much power to a player, players aren't always the best recruiters. So, I mean, it probably worked more in his early sort of 2015, 2016 Cavs days, but when it got to 2017, 2018, and he had to lead that dog shit Cavs team against that KD Warriors, I mean, like it's like what can you do at that point? And at this point in his career, for him personally, he doesn't need to be going after chips. If he wants to play until Bronny gets into the league, cool. I mean, we're not gonna stop him at that point. But yeah, with the praise and stuff, if the internet was around when Jordan was popping like that, he would be getting throated like Chris Collinsworth with Patty Mahomes like just about every
Oh,
night.
for
You know.
sure.
Yes.
For
So
sure.
it
Here's the
goes
difference,
both
though.
ways. You know.
LeBron didn't go. He went from Cleveland to the Lakers. He didn't go to like Minnesota or
Washington,
Detroit. Like Lakers.
Yeah, Jordan went to
you
DC.
Wasn't he supposed to be just like an owner or something like that, or like a GM or whatever? And then he's like, "Oh, fuck it, I'll play." Like I swear.
The
Probably.
people here in LA, like their expectation of the Lakers is that they're going to win a chip every year.
Yes, fucking thank you. I
Cowboy
want
fans.
to build off something after you said that, but go ahead.
So I'm just telling you, like people like the way that they talk about him on like the radio. Like I had the radio station on the other, like when I was in my car the other day, and they're like, "Oh, you know, LeBron on his path to pass Kareem." It's like, dude, some of these guys like Kareem, he played like a decade with the Lakers, but he was not a Laker before that. You know, a lot of these guys that come to the Lakers are not Lakers before them, but they embrace them like they've been there their whole time. And so, like, oh, LeBron passing the all-time leading scorer, who is another Laker, who's not necessarily always been a Laker. It's just like, I don't know, man. They're clinging to things, and this is not what the Lakers have been about. They've not been about scoring titles. They've been about
championships,
putting up banners in the
because
go
ahead.
Go.
No, I was gonna say, when you think of like, I guess the Laker way, quote unquote, like Laker mentality, I don't think LeBron James. I think Kobe Bryant. Like that man was there for the entire time. When you think of Laker greatness, like some people are like, oh, I'd go Kareem, and Kareem, he's there for a good amount of time. I will always say 100%, the first Laker player that will always come to my mind has to be Kobe Bryant. Like he was there. It's like not to get fucking scoring titles or, you know, do these records. He wanted to win championships. Like that's the like Laker way, quote unquote. That's what we're calling it. Like the Laker mentality, you know, whatever. Like, but yeah.
I mean, mine is Magic. Again, I'm older than you guys, but it's the same thing. Like Magic and Kobe had the same thing, whereas like it wasn't Jordan where they just went to the finals and they won. Like they had battles. They had like these series with the Celtics where we lose one, we win one, we lose one, we win one. You know, that's like kind of how it went. Like LeBron, he had his own sort of series, but it was with the fact that his teams were just inferior compared to the other teams that they played. You know what I mean? Regardless of where he played. So, you know, over like, what's that?
Oh, no, because I was going to make a point because you were like ask earlier, like, oh, like people talk about, you know, LeBron James and him like being old and stuff. Why don't people do the same thing for CP3? And I think the reason is when you look at LeBron and his stats, if the Lakers win a championship like this year, obviously they're not because they fucking suck. But if the Lakers were somehow able to get a championship, the main focus, I think, would be LeBron. Like, I think it'd be, oh, LeBron put up 25, maybe 30 in the finals, or Anthony Davis, of course. But he's definitely going to be one of the biggest factors. When we look at Chris Paul, statistically, this man has declined for the past couple of years. You might say, oh, he's averaging a double-double. But then again, we look at, like, he's not as efficient as he was in years past. And if the Suns win a championship, most people are not going to say, oh, it's Chris Paul. It's going to be Devin Booker, maybe DeAndre Ayton. Most people aren't going to focus on Chris Paul as much as you're going to focus on LeBron. Like whether that's the media or just, you know, interpretation.
True. No, I agree with you. But like, if you take the casuals out of it, like we would look at it and be like, okay, well, we know the plays that CP3 contributed in to make the game-winning plays. I mean, all I have to do is go back to look at last year against New Orleans, where what did he go?
I remembered exactly. He went 14 for 14.
14 for 14.
30. It was 30 something. But no, that game exactly where that really helped them win the series.
And that's I feel like that's the difference between him and LeBron, where LeBron would, because he did that over like I believe like 2 quarters. Like it wasn't like he did that like the whole game. It was just like second half, I'm just going to close this team out. Let's do it. LeBron is like, he gets the ball.
Streaming it on here. I think it was Evan and Jay. I don't know if you were here, but we were streaming the end of that, or like that game. And I think it was that game where Chris Paul just fucking was perfect and he was able to put away the Pelicans. It was that game.
I mean, to me, that's more masterful than like I just have the ball in my hands the whole time, and I'm just gonna do a step back 3-point shot, right?
Yeah.
Like, and I'm gonna just continuously do these shots, even if LeBron is really efficient at making 4 out of 5 of those. I just feel like the value of those plays versus like it's crunch time, let me do it. And I'm not taking a shot at LeBron in the sense that I don't think he's like I'm not trying to say, I'm not even making the argument on who's more clutch, CP3 or LeBron. I'm just saying, you know, at this point in their careers, like one guy is dialed in to win a championship and another guy is dialed in to be the greatest scoring player of all time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. And yeah, before we close out of here, just looking at the standings, uh, it seems like after that Clippers game, the Suns went back to the 7th seed, but we're tied with Dallas for the 6th seed. And our next game is against Dallas, and it's either tomorrow or Friday. I don't remember. But yeah, not much movement. We're only 3 games away from being at the matching the Pelicans at the 4th seed, which it's super tight right now. I mean, it's like anything could happen in these next couple weeks before the deadline. With the East Coast, just Boston, Philly, Milwaukee, Brooklyn, and Cleveland. It's kind of just those guys and everybody else. Not much going on the East Coast right now. And then we'll just look at the final scores right now. I think Atlanta is going to be moving around too. I think John Collins is going to end up staying because they can't deal him, kind of like Landry Shamet.
Atlanta's so overrated as hell.
But that they got to start dishing out some of those players, and I wouldn't be surprised if Trae Young gets moved. And if Suns really want to make a splash, call about DeJounte Murray and see if they're willing to kind of get off of him. But that's just a shot in the dark. Yeah,
they gave up a lot. Yeah,
what was it? 4 picks?
Yeah, something like that. Now that trade market last year was nuts.
Yeah,
to just get like a star player, and I wouldn't even say it was that crazy of like a free agency class, to be honest. Like from what we've had in the past couple of years, I don't think it was.
Oh yeah, it for sure wasn't, but like it definitely messed up things to come. Oh yeah, so we play. We play Dallas Thursday, so that's going to be an 8:00 game in the Valley. Dallas has been kind of off and on right now, but again, we're tied with them right now. Maybe with us coming back a little healthy, we can, take their spot in the standings. But Ahmed, did you have any closing thoughts getting out of here about the Suns' life in general? Have you seen Last of Us yet?
Yeah. I gotta go, but I'm gonna do this quick. Yeah. So yes, look, I've been saying this for like way back in December. I'm like, look, just be patient with the Suns. I said be patient with the Cardinals, but like now we got to be patient for the draft,
right?
Along with the Cowboys. But sorry.
All right, no, you got it. All right, that's fine. All right.
I mean, we're all heartbreak. We're all, only one team wins.
Trade Dak and I'm fine. Trade Dak and I'm fine, bro. Trade Dak.
Only one team wins. It doesn't matter. We all sucked.
Yeah.
No, like look, this Suns team it has flaws, but it has really, like, what team doesn't has flaws?
Yeah, I can literally tell you a flaw of any team in the NBA. Like every single, like there has to be a flaw. No one's.
And when people talk about the Celtics or Denver, I'm like, come on, man. Like, be real. Like, let's really talk about it. I'm not even talking about injury history with certain players. I'm just saying, like, they're top heavy. Like, both those teams are very top heavy. And so I'm not like, I just think the Suns team and what James Jones is doing, he's smart about it. He's going to build his team out for the future. He's not going to take on money unless it makes sense. Mm-hmm. So I'm good with that. As far as Last of Us goes, I've been watching it. I don't know if you guys ever played the game. I played the game, but I never finished the game.
I want to play it. I've never played it before.
Literally the first episode is like the first
shot for shot.
Yeah, it's like the first part of the game. but there's a couple like twists and turns. I wonder what they do with it. Did you play the game, Jay?
Yeah, I played both.
You
Yeah,
finished the game or?
yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, honestly, like I thought it was a cool game. I just thought there was going to be more. I thought it was going to be more like Call of Duty, like just let me just get wild with it. But it wasn't really like
Exactly.
like it was more like it wasn't Halo. It was more like let me like find this little treasure or whatever. Like let me figure out. You had to do a lot of like clues and stuff. It wasn't my type of game, so I didn't finish it. The show is awesome, dude, and I'm there for Pedro Pascal and the girl Bella Ramsey. She was in Game of Thrones. If you guys watch Game of Thrones, she was the little bear. I think it was her name, Little Bear.
Shit, god damn. I better watch
or no, Lady Bear, Little Bear, something like that. But she was insane in that, and she was like 14 when she did that part. So yeah, man, I'm all in. I'm all in on that show. I wish there was more to watch in January. The problem is there's not a lot of stuff that drops because it's like what do you call it? Award season. So you don't see a lot of stuff dropping right now.
Yeah.
But I mean, we're gonna get Mandalorian. I don't know if you guys watch Outer Banks. Outer Banks is coming out too soon. Mm-hmm. So that stuff's cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, I played both games. Shot for shot, it was basically the first episode, and the second episode, absolutely brilliant. It's one of the best video game depictions I've seen. So I can't wait to see this show unfold more, and we can talk about it on the After Dark show. We'll definitely schedule something where we can break down all this shit. Nick, did you have any closing thoughts before we get out of here?
All I'm gonna say is people are surprised that Phoenix is doing this well, but little do people know this was a part of my plan. You see, about 2 weeks ago, right, I made a video called The Suns Are Falling Apart, even though I knew Suns fans would be pissed at me. That shit did 125K views. Now, why do I bring that up? Because I have a curse to my name, right? See, there have been times where I need a team to do good for a video, and I root for that team, and they do bad. So I was like, what if I just do the opposite? So not only did I make a bunch of money off that video, I got a bunch of views, but I knew if Phoenix starts doing good, then my point is right. And all I'm going to say is ever since I made that video, things have finally started to look up. So if you're wondering why Phoenix is good, that's me. That or, Cam Johnson's back. But we need someone to, to put it on. So all I'm going to say is I kind of knew this was going to happen.
I have the opposite curse where if the Suns are getting blown out and I turn the game on, when they're coming back, they lose that game. So when the Suns are getting blown out and they start coming back, I don't watch that game. Like I don't watch it.
Curse. I'm not going to lie. That is one hell of a curse.
Yeah, mine is if I don't catch the game 4 minutes into the game, like I can't turn it on because if I turn it on, they lose. So it's kind of like yours on it. Like so I try to make it every game, and I usually do. But like if it gets down to 8 minutes, I'm like borderline like risking it for my entertainment. Really, that's just how I view it. Yeah, this was a great show. Nick, thank you again for coming on. This was really fun. It was great having you back on. We're definitely going to be doing more coming soon. Evan is going to be coming to Phoenix for a few days, so we'll definitely plan to do some pods, maybe an emergency pod if a trade does happen with the Suns. We don't know. But again, thank you for everybody that joined. Yeah, it was a later show, but you got to do what you got to do. Daylight savings isn't everybody's best thing. So Randy had a split early. Shout out to Suns fan Randy. Check him out on YouTube. Stay off my grass podcast, and also AZ Sports Underground. They have a lot of good stuff there. Evan writes there. A lot of good articles, a lot of good knowledgeable sports articles there. Definitely check it out, especially Joe from the Cardinal Roll. He's keeping us all in the loop with everything. We love Joe here. And then the ASAP Sports Network. Thank you, Mike, for coming in for a couple minutes, throwing some trade proposals at us. But yeah, just all around, check us out on Twitter. the TikTok. I've been pretty active on the TikTok.
Oh,
And
shit, I need to check out the TikTok. I have not
yeah.
used it in like a minute.
Yeah, check out the He's on Fire TikTok, and yeah, we'll try to pump out as much content as we can going forward. My schedule's loosening up a lot more nowadays, so and hopefully we can get down to pumping out videos at least once a week. But again, thank you everybody for joining. We're gonna call it tonight. Again, Nick, thank you for coming on, and Amit, I really appreciate you coming on as well. Go Suns! Let's pray for the Cardinals, and let's just stay positive going forward, and let's pray for a championship this year with this team. All right, I'll catch y'all later, man.
Oh yeah.
Peace.
See you guys.
Later.